Good day and greetings from the Great White North. My name is Prickly Poo and welcome to day 269 of a year of change. Today, I sort of want to talk about a couple of different things. We will get to our new edition, don't worry. But, and this is going to sort of lead into it. Although over the past few weeks, I've sort of been fluctuating back and forth. In general, when I sort of look back at the progress that we've made, it's weird because when I look back to when we first started, I think, okay, you know what? It's a substantial amount of weight. It's good. I'm glad that I've lost that much. But there are times when I look at it and say, you know, I've lost on average less than 10 pounds a month, which for me I think is still it's a good pace because I know that I'll be able to keep it off. Well, I suspect I'll be able to keep it off much easier than I normally would because I'm not shedding it super quickly. I mean, we've made tiny little changes over such a long period of time that it doesn't feel like we're dieting or that, you know, we've decided, well, I'm going to go work out now and then start in on something. We've made these little tiny changes, and there are times when I look at other people that like on YouTube or you know, other stories that are out there that are just tearing into themselves and just, you know, in a good way. That sounded weird. I'm trying to say they've lost a lot of weight very quickly. I don't know where I'm coming from or where I'm going by saying, you know, they're tearing into themselves. They're shredding it, ripping it, whatever the cool kids say these days. That people are just really sort of going all gung-ho, they're going all out and losing a lot of weight very quickly. And bravo for them. For any of you that are out there that have decided, you know, right off the hop that you're going to start in with the gym and that you're going to, you know, really cut way back on what you're eating and have steamed vegetables and boiled chicken and all the other good stuff. Bravo. If you can do it, stick with it. But for me, when I'm there are times when I look at that and I think, I don't feel like I'm going fast enough. And this doesn't even count like gains and losses and plateaus and stuff like that. Like that fluctuation is going to happen. But just overall, when I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, it's not the pace that I want. I want to lose this now. And that tends to be sort of the downfall of a lot of us when we start out on a diet and, you know, we want to get rid of the weight so quickly. And that's why we sort of starve ourselves and try to hit the gym for 3 or 4 hours at a time. And we burn out too quickly. But today's YouTuber is sort of a really good sign that what we're doing is right. And it really shows, I know I sort of say that support is very important and, you know, being able to track things and accountability, and there's a whole bunch of contributing factors that go along with it. But I think that this person really does show what perseverance can do. Even if you're not going to the gym 3 or 4 hours a day and you're not cutting way back and having less than 1,000 calories a day, that although your speed may not be as fast as those that are, you know, dropping 150 pounds in 6 months, you're still making progress. And I think that's still important. And I should probably introduce him as well. This is actually someone that I saw a couple of months ago. And I was when he had just first started doing videos. And I was going to add him to our playlist. And then, of course, one thing led to another, and I put in other people and stuff like that, and I wanted to come back to him and see how he's doing. And he's still, you know, consistently losing. He's still doing a really good job. He goes by Not the Big Guy. He's from Queensland, Australia, and basically his videos are just sort of his morning walks. And you go along with him, and he talks back and forth about, you know, a little bit of everything. He's talked about books that he's read. He's walked with his kids. He's talked about being bullied. He's talked about his history, you know, when he was a kid and his, you know, his experience, I should say, with trying to get involved with sports and things like that. Different videos that he's watched and things like that. Just sort of, it's a little bit of everything. It's a nice eclectic mix of all the different things that he's sort of been going through over the past few months. And he started actually just going for a walk back in August, so 3-4 months ago. Yeah, we'll say 3.5 months ago. And he's down about 40 pounds at this point. So his pace is still quicker than mine, but he's not going to the gym for, you know, 2-3 hours a day every single day. He isn't cutting way back to a point where he's having, you know, it was time for my steamed broccoli and then nothing else for the rest of the day. A lot of his approach, from what I can gather, is, you know, because he's not showcasing like the food that he's eating and his exercise regimen and everything else. I mean, you know that he's going for walks because you go with him every single day. But just having that sort of that consistency of any amount of exercise, which is better than what we were doing before, and constant little improvements. I mean, he started out just by going for a walk, and then he's decided, okay, well, I'm going to, normally I come down this hill, I'm going to go up this hill, and then decided, well, I'm going to do 10,000 steps before breakfast, and just sort of setting little goals for himself every now and then, and gradually working up to getting over those. And it's nothing that's really major. It's nothing that he's saying, well, I'm going to do a 5K today. He's probably still doing it anyway with his walking. But I talked to you a while ago about, a long time ago actually. I had a discussion with someone and we were talking about running. And I said, I'd like to sort of start to get into that. And they said, well, start with a 5K. Like, you don't start by jogging a 5K. 325 pounds. I haven't, walked any more than from my house to my car in 5 years. I'm not going to start by doing a 5K or start by, climbing a mountain or something like that. Just doing any little bit and gradually building up as we go along. I mean, it's not as fast as we'd like. It's not as fast as other people have been able to go, but it's working. It's consistent. And over the long term, it has worked. I've lost quite a bit. And chances are, if you've been following me right from day one, and you're up to this point, then you probably have too. But it's nice to be able to see someone that has, a little bit more common sense, because there are some that are out there that, and they've worked hard to get to where they are, but there's so many people that seem to forget what it was like when they were 300 pounds. And saying, well, you need to go to the gym and you need to do this and take this supplement and then do this and, start out light, just do an hour a day. Like, it doesn't work that way. And we talked about this before as well, that like the ex-smokers that really get adamant and say, oh, it stinks and you're going to kill yourself and you just reek all over the place and it smells up your clothes and your house and your car. They seem to forget what it's like when you're just starting out. And, I mean, they've worked hard to get to where they are, so I'm not diminishing that at all. But when you really sort of want to stop them and say, you weren't able to do this. When you were 300 and however many pounds, you weren't able to say, okay, well, I'm going to start by jogging a 5K. Just isn't going to happen. But being able to start out really, really small, and this is something that he does touch on as well, start out really small. And once you get used to it, then make an improvement. And then you'll get used to that. And then you improve again and you get used to that. It's sort of been the basis of what I've been doing with the treadmill for the past few months. And really our diet as well. I mean, when we first started out, we were just basically just tracking everything. We were eating whatever we wanted, tracking, every calorie, just to get a rough idea as to where we stand. And I mean, now we've gone through everything. We've gone through protein and somewhat almost done. And fiber and fat and carbs and all the little things. We've learned a tremendous amount of information. We've been able to apply that to what we've been doing. But I think it's being consistent and not pushing ourselves to a point where, I mean, you want to make some progress. So when you make those improvements, we aren't saying, okay, well, I'm going to, I walked for 10 minutes. So next month I'm going to walk for 12 minutes. We have been making steady improvements and it's shown because we've been able to, I'm doing stuff now that I never would have been able to do 6 months ago. And certainly never would have been able to do a year ago, which kind of makes sense because that's 6 months ago and more. I should have started with a year ago and then said, let alone not even 6 months ago. That would have sounded better, but you know what I mean anyway. Watching him sort of progress when he first started just doing his videos, and he's to a stage now, he's got a nice format now where he'll film snippets throughout the day as he's going on his walk, and then he edits them all together, and then he has a weekly thing where he'll touch on different subjects and just things that he's gone throughout the week and things that he has watched and things that he's read. But being able to see that steady progression as he's been going along, obviously watching what he's watching what he eats. I can't talk at all. I can never talk. I'm always babbling in these things. And this week has been especially bad. I do apologize because I've just been kind of blah, 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 through the whole week. Anyway, all right. Nice and proper and businesslike. So, what was I saying? Shit. I completely forgot. Yeah, he is. I mean, he's watching what he's eating, obviously, but I think a lot of that is going to be common sense stuff. He did make a comment in one of his videos saying, it's different how he looks at it now, and I mean, we talked about this as well. That my binge this past weekend, when I went, I binged and I had half a jar of pickles in one sitting. That's vastly different than what my binge would have been, a year ago, where I would have had a rack of ribs and two pizzas and 3 or 4 burritos, and then have a pie. But he had said that there was a point when he thought, well, it's his healthy version was, no, I'm going to have one pie, not 2 pies. And we've all done that. I've done that exact same thing. It's I'm only having 1 pie. I bought 3, but I'm only going to have 1 of them. At least that's better. And as odd as it sounds, it's true. I mean, when you're first starting out, if you're used to sitting and eating 3 pies, which I was, saying, no, I'm just going to eat 1 pie, then yes, it's an improvement. As horrible as that sounds, and no, you're not going to lose weight if you keep eating pies, but being able to start with something that small and just say, you know what, I'm not going to eat the entire pie in one sitting. I'm going to eat 3/4 of a pie in one sitting. It sounds so stupid, but it's true that a small change like that is what really started everything off. And then gradually we cut back to half a pie, and then 1/4 of a pie, and then just a regular piece of pie. And then 1 piece of pie every 2 days, and then once a piece of pie every 3 days. And I mean, it's just taken us a very long time to get there. We've just gone sort of week by week and month by month, and it adds up. And you can see it with him as well, that, he has made a lot of progression. He's lost about 40 pounds so far. He's joined a gym. It is a little difficult to watch him walking around because right now, it's snowing ice pellets where I am, and he's in Australia where it's warm. So I'm not too pleased with that, but depending on when you're watching this, maybe it's summertime and you're all happy and you're going, oh, this is great. This is obviously what it's like. But aside from that, it's interesting just to sort of, because you feel like you're sort of walking along with him and just, shooting the shit back and forth. And he's got some interesting topics that he brings up, and it's not anything really like deep and depressing or anything like that, but it's stuff that we have experienced at one point or another. He does touch on some things like that, and then just little things that sort of keep you mulling around for the day. But watching his progress, I need to get back to that, sorry, because originally the reason why I sort of wanted to focus on this was that, again, he's not going to the gym 3 or 4 hours a day. He's not taking drastic measures for his diet. He's using a lot of common sense and practical application of things and saying, you know what, no, if you eat properly, how we should be eating, really, that's going to take up the majority of, your weight loss. Does that make sense? No. It's going to account for the majority of your weight loss. But by him even just taking these walks and then gradually improving bit by bit by bit, he is showing progress, and he's continuing to go. He's lost a little over 40 pounds at this point, depending on when you're watching this. As of mid-December, I will say. He's lost a little over 40 pounds, which is really, really good because he started back in August. And it's a good pace because it's going to be a pace that, we're going to be able to keep off. And again, it's not as fast sometimes as we would like, but that consistency, I think, is much more important than the speed at which we lose it. Because when we're doing something like that being able to sort of stick with it, even if it's something that's so small that we don't notice that we're making that change, we're more likely to stick with that and make it a part of our lives than we are to say, well, you know what, this is my workout day, or all right, this is the day where I can't have this or I can't have that. There are some things, obviously, that we do that we know that we shouldn't. And we've been lectured so many times, so I'm not going to go into that. But we know when we've screwed up. We know when we're on the right track. But overall, we've stuck with this for a very long time. And it has paid off, and it's paying off for him as well. So go up, take a look at him, send him a quick note, let him know that we are out there. I don't think he's on MyFitnessPal. I haven't seen him mention it yet. He is on Twitter and Instagram, though, so I'm going to jump on there and say hi as well. And send him a quick little note just to let him know that we are out here. Because, again, it's nice just to know that, what you're doing. It's different when you have support from friends and family and stuff like that. It's a little bit different when you have other people that are saying, this is what we've done as well, and it's been working. And just being able to have someone that understands. You don't have to, be shredding it at the gym. There you go. There's a nice hip saying. And I just fucking ruined it by saying hip. So, anyway, just being able to share that with someone and say, we've been doing roughly the same thing, and yes, it's taking a tremendously long time, and sometimes we're impatient, but it has paid off. I mean, 9 months is a very long time, and there are times when I look at it and think, like, I should have lost my weight by now. I mean, there are people that are just dropping the pounds like crazy, but then I sort of step back and I look at it and I think, you know what? It's still a substantial amount of weight. It's still 70 pounds. So, yeah, over 9 months, that's... When you look at it that way, you're thinking, yeah, I could have gone a little faster, but I still have lost 70 pounds. And same thing with him. When you're looking at it going, yeah, but that's over 3 or 4 months. But it's still 40 pounds. Like, that's 3 or 4 cats. Like, well, fat cats. My cats, anyway. It's a tremendous amount of weight to lose. That's 4 extra buckets of paint that he's lost, that he was carrying around with him before, and all it took was him just sticking with it, making those little tiny changes, and persevering and staying on track. And I'm sure he's had good days and he's had bad days. He's had weeks where he's gained and lost, and weeks where he's plateaued, and he's probably felt that same frustration that we have. But in the long term, because he's been sticking with it, there's still that progress that's happening. And we're going to stutter along the way. We're going to stall. We're going to gain. We're going to feel shitty. We're going to get discouraged. We're going to get demotivated. We aren't going to want to continue on. But when you look back over 9 months over the past 9 months and what we've done, then at least take a look at that and just say, you know what? Here's how much I've lost by doing this. I know I can lose that much. I just need to keep going. You'll get through the rough patches. You'll get through the plateaus. And eventually it will start dropping off again. And we know this because we've experienced it so many times now, where we're just sort of not making any progress. And then we change one little tiny thing, and maybe it's just simply a matter of changing the path that you take when you're walking. Or if you're, if I'm parking on the hill again, if I'm walking up the hill at work, just some little change that's just going to sort of push you over that little speed bump and get you back on track. But it's nice watching someone else going through the same thing and have that slow, steady progress, and knowing that in the long run, he's probably going to keep it off. And obviously, we know what it's like when you do hit those goals and you think, this is working. I'm finally doing this after God knows how long and how many times of trying. You're finally doing it. So go up, take a look, say hi to him. His name, or he goes by not the big guy, which he does have a story about that. One of his videos, a very short one. Just talks about, what your fat name is. I've had many over the years, which we don't get into because they're painful. But not really, it's fine. But yeah, there's so you can go up and you can take a look at some of his videos and you'll understand what I mean. It's like you're going for a walk with someone, and it's nice to watch. And I'm pretty sure he may have called me out on my hot dog thing from a couple months ago too. So that might be bad. But in the meantime, I'm going to leave this video here. So thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, please poke the like button for me. In the meantime, keep yourself warm and fuzzy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.